Hey guys, welcome to Denny's. Today, we're going to go into an in-depth guide of the Thundercage modules, more specifically 3 different builds going from entry-level mod capacity, mid-tier, and endgame mod capacity, kind of like an all-rounder, if you will, since most people are going over their Juice Thundercage builds and not really including the lower-end stuff all the way to endgame. Before we get into it, remember to like, guys, if I helped you in any way, shape, or form. Comment any feedback you have for me. It means more than anything right now. And then subscribe if you feel that I've earned it. Subscribe. If not, next time I will. So keep a lookout on the channel. And yeah, but the sponsor of today's video, guys, it's actually me. I'm live every single day on Twitch and YouTube. So stop by if you see me live and say hello. I love chatting with you guys, and the support has been really, really crazy. It's been pretty insane. Before I get too crazy, let's get into this. So first things first. Let's go into the gun rolls. So gun rolls, I believe crit damage, crit hit, weak point, and firearm ATK percentage is going to be the overall best in slot. Now, if you choose this to be a bossing weapon, obviously that can be Colossus damage for the firearm attack or however you want to do it yourself. But I believe this to be a good all-rounder. I did get pretty lucky, guys. Don't roast me in the comments too hard. I did not have to spend a crazy amount of the readjustment materials for this. So I did get pretty lucky with that, guys. As far as starting it off with the entry-level early game build. So first off, the consume mag, it is going to be consume mag and better insight. These are going to be when you first get the gun, mainly because the 2 sockets you get are going to be the Cerulean and the Almandine when you first get it. Consume mag is free DPS with a tiny bit of weak point damage. It never gets upgraded when you upgrade the module though, so keep that in mind. It stays static. As you upgrade, having a faster reload time is a must because we'll be adding a mod in the future that reduces your reload time, increases your reload time rather. As far as fire rate up, this is straightforward. When you do your DPS 25% faster in any game, it's a very, very large DPS increase. And when I say 25%, obviously when you upgrade this guy all the way, it goes to 25%. 8% is still pretty large for the early game, guys. And then we'll talk about better insight, crit damage real quick. So naturally, it's a high DPS choice on any gun. Any gun with base crit that's pretty high, like 10 to 15%, but the Thundercage has 20% base crit, which is really, really huge, guys. That's a very large base crit number, so any amount of crit hit rate you get is upping it quite substantially. The crit multiplier it starts off with is a 2x crit multiplier, so obviously any crit damage is going to increase it quite a bit too. Don't forget, I'm showing unupgraded mods here, guys. My recommendation as far as the upgrade order would probably be fire rate, firearm ATK percentage, crit hit rate, crit hit damage, and then the reload speed and weak point one. This is really, it's just a straight up damage increase. It is additive, it's not multiplicative, but it's still really, really good at damage increase, guys. As far as the that's the conclusion as far as the early game. So this is going to be what I recommend. Obviously, you'll see I have these sockets here. I'm just showing an early game build, guys. I am in towards the mid level, towards the end game, I'd say. But let's get into the mid-level build real quick. So mid-level build, this is going to be when you've added an energy mushroom usually to up the total capacity. Obviously, you go here, max capacity up, and you can increase the total capacity of the gun by around 30 module capacity points. As you can see, we've upgraded a lot of these mods, guys, but you want to upgrade them in the order previously stated as you go along in my recommendation. We've added action and reaction. Mainly because of the insane amount of firearm attack percentage you get. This is just giant. The recoil fall off here isn't really a huge deal in my opinion, especially if you're on PC. Now, if you're on controller, it could be different, so make sure to let me know in the comments if you've noticed that's actually not worth it. I still don't think it would be. We've also added weak point insight here, just because the massive multiplier, the massive weak point multiplier, that's like the biggest amount of damage you can get in the game is weak point damage. Now, it does not affect the sheet DPS. Keep that in mind. It only affects, like, you're actually going to see this in the real world. The sheet DPS is going to play little with the weak point damage, but it's very, very good. As far as the last one that I've added, it's going to be the concentration priority. This is the reload time modifier I was talking about that we wanted to upgrade consume magazines for, so we don't get crazy reload speeds going. But this is a giant amount of firearm crit hit damage. I mean, obviously, it needs no introduction to 120% when it's fully upgraded. I think it starts off at something like 20%. It's ridiculous. So this is definitely what I would recommend to get into. Now, obviously, guys, you absolutely can do, and I'll talk about this in the end game build too, but you absolutely can do weak point insight. A lot of people prefer this. I'm just really bad at hitting headshots, guys, and weak points. I like just hitting higher numbers when I hit the body. That's just how I play, but I know that it probably is better if you can hit weak points with a weak point insight mod. But let's get into the since I talked about the 2 that we've added for the, or the, sorry, excuse me, the 3 that I've added for the mid level, let's get into the end game. So most importantly, the big thing I want to talk about with the end game build is going to be the upgrading. As you can see, a lot of these mods are fully upgraded. You obviously are going to want to follow a set path when upgrading the mods. Again, I'm going to talk about it again. It's fire rate, firearm ATK, crit hit rate, crit hit damage, and then obviously you can throw in the weak point upgrade there if you don't want to do crit hit rate and crit hit damage, and instead go with the weak point insight, or the weak point in general. And if you're confident in hitting the weak points, that is. A lot of the time I actually prefer crit hit damage, again, because I suck at hitting the weak points in the first place. That's just me. It's obviously not better on the sheet DPS with weak point, but again, it's a much harder hit when you start to socket more of the weak point damage, as long as you are hitting the weak points. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process behind the insight focus and the addition of the insight focus, because it's more crit hit rate, more crit hit damage, but again, could do weak point insight instead of that and hit harder on the obviously on the weak points. But I just know that I suck at it, so that's the moral of the story. I know I've said it like 3 times that I suck, guys, but it's the moral of the story. As far as the video, guys, that's pretty much it. You can kind of go through each of the timestamps in the description if you want to go through and look at all the mods that I think you should use from the early game to the mid level to the end game. I kind of just want to throw out an all-rounder Thundercage build, because it seems like most people are just showing off their decked out Thundercages, and most people aren't going to be able to get that to that level with a ton of hours played, right? So yeah. Also, I do believe all these mods will be pretty decent for an all-rounder type of even every general rounds weapon, to be honest. But yeah, like for example, the Eternal Willpower here, I don't have it upgraded at all. I have fire rate, better insight, and rifling reinforcement already, and it's hitting like a truck. So I do think it's a good all-rounder for every gun, but I wanted to go into the Thundercage specifically because I know it's a very popular gun, and it is a really good mobbing gun. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you have stayed this long, it is massively appreciated. It does not go unsaid. I appreciate you so much. Remember to comment any feedback and like if I helped in any way. And guys, that's it. I'm out of here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the first Descendant. Enjoy the grind. And yeah, I'm out of here. Goodbye.